Today you are going to begin your first section of independent notes. You will work with your groups on each section of these notes and take notes along with your Cornell as you have in class throughout the course of this school year. Our first topic is the North, and we're going to take a look at what life was like in the North and what types of things were driving the people of the North. Okay, in any discussion of the North pre-Civil War, there are four real components: industrialization, technology, industry, and success. These advances that occurred in technology and industry basically changed the way Americans work, travel, and communicate. The work improved in three distinct stages. First, manufacturers made products by dividing tasks among workers. Second, manufacturers built factories to begin specializing, to basically bring specialized workers together. And then finally, workers began using machines to work more efficiently. Major inventions like the sewing machine by Elias Howe are an example of this. No longer is every stitch of clothing and every curtain being made by hand. You have machines that can help facilitate creating advanced products. In our last unit, we talked a lot about the roads that were being built, the canals that were being built, and these improved the transportation of both goods and people. And these transportation improvements allow you to kind of connect different parts of the country that hadn't been connected before and trade for new and improved goods. Some major inventions to consider and take note of are the steamboat by Robert Fulton. They can carry goods and people cheaply and quickly along inland waterways. Instead of a wagon pulled by horse carrying all of your belongings to the west, we build canals that will take you there. And they'll take you there along with your belongings, other materials. And so trade improves vastly, but so does the way people are transported from one area to another. In addition, clipper ships are considered the pride of the seas. They travel across the Atlantic in half the time, and these improved sailing ships make it so that we can trade our goods with Europe and begin to profit more and more with an international trade system. The North was the first portion of the country to really invest in the idea or the reality of trains. Early trains were initially pulled by horses, and the first steam-powered passenger train began operating in Great Britain in 1829. An American by the name of Peter Cooper created the Tom Thumb, which was the first American steam locomotive in 1830. A funny story about the initial kind of launching of this. The Tom Thumb engine took part in a contest against a horse-drawn locomotive. And the engine fails, and the horse-drawn locomotive actually wins. Fortunately for the American spirit, this did not stop the desire or the drive, and within 10 years, the steam locomotives were pulling almost all American trains. So, in 1840, the United States has 3,000 miles of railroad tracks, and 20 years later, by 1860, there are 31,000 miles of railroad tracks, mostly in the North and Midwest. Now, when you stop and think about this, how do you think this is going to impact warfare? This is a major change from the last time a war had been fought on U.S. soil. What do you think that impact is going to be? And when you look at the impact these changes have, it's going to go well beyond the actual Civil War. It's going to play a major role in the way we settle and industrialize the Midwest. You're going to see cities pop up where they wouldn't have popped up before because of canals and railroad intersections. And you're going to see civilization spread throughout the country when primarily it had been along the East Coast. And one final way that our ability to spread out across the country becomes more likely is the additional changes in communication. The invention of a telegraph that uses electronic signals to transmit messages makes it so that you can manage a country that's spread as many miles as this one will become. Samuel Morse demonstrates that he could send messages instantly along these wires using something called Morse code, which is a series of dots and dashes that represent the letters of the alphabet. He demonstrated this with a message between Baltimore and D.C. on May 24th, 1844. And basically, because of the telegraph, communication can keep up with the fast-paced life that's being created by this industrial revolution. It increases the likelihood that people will move away from one another because they can still communicate. They can still reach each other. People will be more likely to travel further distances on business and things like that because you can communicate. When you think about the way the internet has changed the way we live and work, well, the creation of the telegraph helped change the way the people of this era lived and worked. Now, just like we thought about with the locomotive, what do you think? What kind of impact can the ability to instantly communicate 1,000 miles away, what can that do for you? Think in terms of the Battle of New Orleans, which was fought after the War of 1812, and even think about the start of the War of 1812. If communication had been improved, would we ever even have had that war? Okay, now this is going to end Chapter 13, Section 1's notes. You can take the open note quiz at any time using the notes that you created from your reading in conjunction with the information provided in this lecture. Good luck.